Hey everybody, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today I'm getting ready to make some spinach and basil pesto for dinner. And I thought I'd just have you come along with me and I'll show you how I make it. If you watched our garden tours, you might have remembered the spinach row that did not come up as well as we were hoping. Only about half of the seeds grew, and so there were some big spots in the row. But actually, it was more than enough for us this year. I have frozen a lot of it, and we've been eating it fresh. It really turned out to be just about the right amount for us this year. So as I was out in the garden today, I thought I'd pick probably what's going to be one of our last picks or harvest for the spinach because it is beginning to bolt. Last night I had harvested the basil because it was also starting to flower and I wanted to trim it back so we could continue to get some throughout the summer. So I got it all trimmed back and I brought that in last night. And I've got plenty in the freezer, so I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. But when I saw the spinach, I thought that would be the perfect thing for us to have for dinner tonight. What I've done so far was I washed the basil and the spinach. I rolled it up in the towels to get the extra moisture off of it because you want your leaves to be pretty dry. And when you measure spinach and basil, you always press them down. And here I am checking to see how much I have. It looks like I have 2 cups of spinach and 1 cup of basil. And so I've got my food processor right there, and I'm going to go ahead and throw both the spinach and the basil into the food processor and just push it down. Now, if you've never had pesto before, it is so fresh and delicious, and you need to give it a try. It's usually on pasta, but you can use it for so many things. Just seasoning any kind of food, salads, breads, pasta dishes, Italian dishes, pizzas. It can be used for just a multitude of different things. So here I'm turning on the food processor and I've just turned it on and it's hard to tell that it's on. And at first it's not really doing much because all of that inside there is dry. I am adding 3 cloves of garlic. You can add as many as you like depending on your taste. Here I've got extra virgin olive oil and I think I'm adding about probably a 1/4 cup. It's again depending on how much it needs to be emulsified. And you can see it's starting to swirl around a little bit down there now. This is some lemon juice, and it's about 1½ tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. And that lemon juice is good to keep it fresh and stay green. Then a big pinch of kosher salt or any kind of regular salt, and just keep that spinning. So now I'm turning it down and I'm pulsing it here just to make sure everything's kind of ground up inside there. And it's so green. I was kind of curious as to what that purple basil was going to look like when it was ground up. I was a little fearful of the color, but it did do it very well. And there's about a 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese, and that's probably about a 1/3 cup of toasted walnuts. Usually you use pine nuts in pesto, but we never have those in the house, and we actually prefer walnuts. So I always add walnuts if I add the nuts. You don't even have to add them. So again, I'm just mixing it a little more and pulsing it there. Just make sure all of those ingredients are nicely incorporated inside there. And it looks like they are. And I'm scraping the lid there so we don't lose any of that delicious pesto. Now, if you know me, you probably know that I can be very frugal. And I just hate to see anything from our garden that we have worked so hard to grow go to waste. So when it dawned on me that we had just the right amount of spinach and the right amount of basil to make the pesto, and I had all the ingredients on hand, I was so pleased. I found a jar to put the pesto in, and you can either go ahead and put this in a jar to eat right away. I think it will stay fresh in your refrigerator for a couple of days. Or if you want, you can take an old ice cube tray and fill each of the parts of the tray with the pesto, freeze it, pop it out, and put it in a Ziploc bag back in the freezer. And that way you'd have individual little pucks of pesto to use when you needed it. Here I am scraping down the blade to make sure we get all of that pesto off the blade and into that jar. Traditionally, we think of pesto as basil with pine nuts and garlic and olive oil all pureed together to make a sauce for pasta. Well, there's a lot of ingredients that you can use to make variations of pesto for your pasta. You can use any kind of green. You can use a kale, a spinach, cilantro, parsley, mustard greens, beet greens, and you can even use garden peas. Fresh peas from your garden can be pureed up into a pesto as well. I really like this variation because the basil is not as overwhelming when it's mixed with the spinach, and it's so healthy and good for you. So I hope that you like this video and try making some pesto at home. It's really quite easy, and I think you're going to love it. If you like watching my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it.